Everyone, it's another episode of Waterproof Records. It feels like it's been a long time, but it really hasn't been because I've been spacing out the shows, dropping them just gradually as we go because, it gets tough. We got a lot of things going on, but I'm excited because this is one of those episodes where I'm not alone. I have company. I don't have to sit here and stare just at the camera and talk to you. Guys, I'm so thrilled because I was saying to my guest before the show, I was saying, really, because the miracle of TikTok, all of this has come together, and it's through that same crazy app that I have been connected to this man right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Waterproof Records, Tim David Kelly, a.k.a. Kicking Harold.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Things are going to change. I can feel it. If there's going to be that kind of party, I'm going to...
Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records. Waterproof Records with Jacob Gibbons.
Yes, there he is. Now we can get in to the conversations and questions from the moment he got here. I've just been like, I want to know everything. I want to talk about everything, but we weren't rolling yet. And I was like, let's not waste it. It's podcast gold.
It's like they used to say Letterman wouldn't talk to people between the interviews.
Right.
He'd sit there all awkward with the actors.
You have to because all the good stuff. But before we get into it, let me read my blurb here.
Do it.
Today's episode is recorded at Believe Limited in Silver Lake, California. Believe specializes in entertainment that affects change and is responsible for various forms of content, including feature films, documentaries, and podcasts, much like this one. You can check out their work at believeltd.com. Believe Limited. We do special things.
It's very cool here.
It is, isn't it?
I endorse them.
Yes, you endorse it. You believe in Believe.
I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe. Whenever I hear the word believe, I think of Polar Express. I don't know if you've ever seen the Polar Express.
I never saw that.
It's not great, but I'm a father of 2 children, and you end up having to watch it during the holidays. And there's this moment where the kid in the movie just goes like, it's very awkwardly delivered. He's like, I believe. I believe.
It's kind of Christopher Walken a little bit.
Yes.
I believe
this
watch up my ass.
My ass. Yes. Well, Kicking Harold is here himself.
I am not Hootie. I'm not Harold.
You're not. Yeah,
I'm Tim.
You're Tim. I know. Do you get called Harold mistakenly because of the band name?
No,
Everybody.
thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad enough we called it Kicking Harold to start with because I've explained that name for 30 years now.
Well, you're about to explain it again because my first question out of the gate is, who's Harold and why are we kicking the shit out of him?
Well, my standard answer is he knows what he did.
Okay, he knows what he did.
But when we first started back in 94, we had some photos done.
Okay.
And the photographer had a dog named Harold. So we were taking these photographs and we didn't have a name yet. So he had this dog running around and he kept getting into the shot. So the photographer said like 1,000 times, kick Harold out of the shot to his assistant. Kick Harold out of the shot, kick Harold out of the shot. And then after, one of our friends who was hanging with us goes, you should call the band Kicking Harold, dude. We were like, that's cool. It sounds like Smashing Pumpkins. We're in. And that was all the thought we put into it. And here I am like saying the same thing over and over again. And everyone's like, you didn't really kick a dog. It's like, no. Harold never got kicked. And he's probably gone now. He was a lab. So
yeah, long gone.
Yeah, 94. He's not around.
R.I.P. Harold.
Oh, man.
He didn't get kicked.
No.
But I love the connection to the Pumpkins. Yeah, it's like a action plus a noun. It's like, Smashing Pumpkin, Kicking Harold. There you go. Right.
There's
there.
a lot of things bands.
Yeah.
Like we kind of ripped off the Smashing Pumpkins name. And then there's been bands after us that I'm like, hey, you're ripping us off is what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, you said you started in 94, so this has been your whole adult life pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I was 25 when I started the band and 27 when we got our record deal and then in my 30s when we got spit out the other side of the record deal.
Yeah.
It was like the Matrix. You come out of it like, what happened? I thought I was going to be famous.
Right.
The fuck?
I know. Well, if I read correctly, your first album, you got signed by MCA in 1995 for Ugly and Festering. That was your debut record.
Yeah. It's a kind of a long, convoluted, fun story, but
that's what the podcast
that's
is
what
for.
It's for. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we started out and just decided to do a band for fun. I did because I had spent maybe 5-7 years before that trying to get signed with a band back in the hair metal days.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then when Nirvana hit and that separation happened, I was part of the people that said, I'm going that way. You know,
Right.
I'm following this. This is cool. I like this better.
yeah.
And I started over, and I found the only musicians that were left in LA from my friends from Arizona where I grew up. And we just recorded for fun. Like we went in and did a 4-track demo,
Yeah.
on cassette and released a cassette. We made like 50 of them.
I love
And
it.
then, dude, after 7 years of trying, we played our first real gig at the Coconut Teaser on Sunset and got a record deal.
See, that's amazing.
The guy gave me a card, and it was an independent label.
Yeah.
We kind of stepped up from that to the MCA. They came in later on, but
yeah.
it just showed me, and it gave me a big lesson in life that once you kind of don't look at the goal and just do the art,
Yeah.
you do better art and people respond better.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to please anyone, or like, we need to do this, or we need to fire this guy to get a deal, or we need to,
Yeah.
your hair's wrong, or, whatever,
Totally.
whatever it is,
Totally.
We were just having fun, and all of us were like, what?
Yeah.
It happened? Cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it not to make this about me, but
Do it.
But
It's your podcast, man.
I guess you're right. But that is probably one of the greatest lessons I learned, and it took me until my 40s to even understand, which is, I moved to LA because I wanted to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I came here for. And for most of my life, I've had odd jobs and kind of meandered through and tried a million different things, but I wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
I wanted it so bad that I worked incredibly hard to make things and collaborate with friends and partners and whatnot. And it was right before the pandemic that I gave up. I gave up. We had just moved into this, house that we were renting, and I was with my wife, my boys, and I had a good job, and I was like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care. I don't thirst after it. I don't need it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a TikTok and all of a sudden, everything that I was doing that is leading me to where I am, talking to you, living this life of consuming music, sharing music, and entertaining it all came from a place where I wasn't asking for anything. I was just having fun and enjoying that part. And so your story was the same. It was like, I want it. And the moment you let go, it comes.
And just follow your muse and just do what you feel like doing.
Yeah.
And it happens,
It does.
It was cool. I suggest it.
Yeah. If
you're a musician, I suggest once trying to get a record deal.
Yeah.
And being very careful what you sign. And,
Yeah.
Because, I like being indie now better
Yeah.
than I did then.
Yeah.
But having the machine behind you is a whole different animal.
I can imagine.
And you realize like, oh, that's how things happen.
Right.
That's how you get on this, or
Yeah.
it just, the door's open when you're the green light act.
Yeah, they make the calls, they set up the gig. You don't have to spend all of your time doing all that legwork to then be creative. And so that's the benefit of that. But now you're in control of it entirely, which has got its own benefits to it as well.
100%. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love it now. It's fun. And it's kind of interesting. Kicking Harold has morphed from a band where it's just guys who got into a room and jammed into a solo project. So like I'm more now like Dave Grohl on his first gig, or Lenny Kravitz. I just go in there and just do everything myself.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an intentional thing. It just happened by mistake because I was music producing for other artists.
Yeah.
And then I just started making demos.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, well, I'll get a band together and we'll record these. And then I would listen to the finished demo and go, I like this. I don't want to change this.
As it is, right? It sounded good.
Yeah. And as long as I got what I wanted and everyone else had left, like through the years, like after a while, everyone's like, I can't keep doing this. I'm like going up the hill still,
Yeah.
My friend and I always joke about, like rock soldiers, like never give up, never surrender.
Yeah. Totally. Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest, never surrender.
Never
man.
surrender. I love it.
It exploded.
Yeah. Yeah. But so growing up, where did you grow up, by the way? Where's home?
I call Tucson, Arizona home because I lived
Okay.
there from like 10 years and I went through high school there. So
Yeah. Okay.
But I was born in Canada
Okay.
to Americans. So,
That's why you're so cool. Canadians are always the coolest. They're always cool.
well, I guess it's in the DNA, right?
Yeah.
When you're born there. But
yeah.
I'm technically an American. I have an
Okay.
American passport and a Canadian birth certificate. So I
eh.
can run up there probably anytime I need to.
It's better to claim being Canadian right now, I think, in this country.
Probably, yeah.
I wish I could say what you're saying. I'd rather be like, I am not an American, I am a Canadian.
Yeah.
Just
No, I am proudly an American. But,
Yeah, I
but
know.
I would
I know.
I would love to go up there at some point. I mean, I've visited all the major cities. and
Yeah.
I think Vancouver is my favorite one.
Yeah.
But-
But Tucson is what feels like home.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, are Jimmy Eat World from Tucson, Arizona, or are they from
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the talk of the town.
Talk of the town of Phoenix over there. Yeah.
When we were growing up there, the big band that was happening while we were there was Gin Blossoms.
Gin Blossoms. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were huge.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my God, they're from Phoenix. You know?
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
And
that's-
Alice Cooper lives in Phoenix, and
Yeah. It's funny to think of Alice Cooper in Phoenix. I don't know why. Just because I think of him sweating.
he likes to golf.
Yeah, that's right. He's such a juxtaposition of a person, right? He's like got that rock and roll style, and then when you see him in interviews, it's like,
He's like your grandpa.
Yeah, he's like your
he's totally a
grandpa.
nice
Yeah.
guy. I met him at a 7-Eleven
oh, of course you
in
did.
Hollywood.
Of course you did.
I was in line, and he was in front of me,
Amazing.
and I just tapped him on the shoulder. I'm like, "What's up, Alice?" He's like, "Hey, man."
Hey, man.
I didn't know what to say to him. I was
Yeah.
just like, I told my friend, "Fucking hey, I saw Alice Cooper." 7-Eleven.
I saw Alice Cooper at a 7-Eleven.
I know.
I love it.
I should have got something signed or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you have him sign? A Slurpee, you know?
Twix.
Yeah. Charleston Chew. So you're growing up in Tucson for the most part. And so you decide you're going to play guitar. Is that the first instrument you reach for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When I was 14 or 15, my best friend
Yeah.
said, I'm starting in a band with Mike, this other guy from our school.
Yeah.
And I was like, a band? Because he could play guitar. And immediately I felt myself being left behind.
Yes.
So
Right.
yeah.
I'm going to be out of the friend group.
I was like, oh, shit. So I said to my friend, I said, will you teach me? And then
Yeah.
he taught me how to play guitar. And then, I mean, that was like 15. And by 16, I was doing 4 sets a night of covers in the local bars. So I mean, we were
Really?
just on it. You know,
You just went after it.
once we wanted it, yeah, we were just like, this is it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Who was the guitarist that you heard or the band that you heard at that time in your life that you were like, I want to play like that guitarist?
I always wanted to be Eddie Van Halen.
Oh,
I mean, I even went to the hair salon and took his picture, and I have pictures of myself looking exactly like him with the big bouffant, badass hair, the
amazing.
bangs and everything.
Amazing.
But I couldn't do it.
I mean, that guy just unbelievable. His guitar playing was so unbelievable.
It's insane. I
It's
learned
insane.
really fast when I was younger. There was the guys that just had that gene of wanting to all day
shred.
long.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd rather just play the chords and write the songs. So
Yeah.
I figured if I would write the songs, I can play a lead and I can bang out a lead, but I'm definitely not a virtuoso at all. But
Yeah.
I like being the rhythm guy,
Yeah.
basically. And when alternative came out, it was like a miracle. It was
Totally.
like
Because
the
then
solos
solos are not cool to do those solos. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Dude, 2 things happened when it came out. 2
Yeah.
reasons why I wanted to do it. One, I struggled my whole younger life with how high shit is to
Yeah.
sing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, I have it like a 2-octave range, but it's a tenor, but it's just barely high enough to hit the high notes.
Yeah.
So when grunge came out and I heard like Nirvana and
you're like,
Soundgarden and they were tuned to full step down and then drop C, I was
Yeah.
like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And then the solos were like just singing the melodies and you could just do a
Totally.
couple licks you knew and I'm like,
Noodling.
I'm in.
That's the
I can do
solo.
that.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I can do that.
Totally.
And it was the same feeling I had when I saw the kids playing metal when I was younger. It's like, I can play Living After Midnight. It's just dun, 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 dun. Like, let's make a band. That's it. That's all I
Yes.
need.
Yes.
These 3 chords.
I got my guitar when I got it. I think it was Christmas 12, 13, right around that time. And I was getting it because I was into Metallica and I wanted to play like Kirk Hammett. And
yeah.
very early on, I realized I just, look, I had I had Guitar World out with, Fade to Black. I had the tabs in front of me and I could learn sections and I would sit there and I would play like, or Megadeth, Tornado of Souls. And I would be able to get the riff down. But when it got to the solos, I could get like sections. But if somebody was like start to finish, I was just like, I cannot
Freeze up.
I was like, I cannot shred like these guys. I was like, I don't know how they do it. And I was relieved
Yeah.
because of the alternative music scene. I was like, oh, there's so much less pressure. And learning more bluesy styles like you heard in Pearl Jam and whatnot, I was like, that's a little bit more accessible because I can bend all day. But these, I was like,
But
Yeesh.
that is deceptive. Mike McCready is a monster.
He is a monster guitar player. He is. He
The
is
king of the
absolutely.
wah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love him.
It was deceptive.
Yeah.
You could fake it
Yeah.
better, I guess you could say. I could
Yeah.
fake it better.
The people that were great, and the thing I loved in the 90s were the guys that you knew were the shredders in the 80s and they were hiding it, like Billy. Billy Corgan is a shredder.
You can tell he's a shredder.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the Rush documentary where he talked about
Yes.
learning 2112
Yes.
front to back? Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, aha!
The guy can,
Aha!
yes, just like Prince, who hid
Yeah.
oftentimes how amazing of a shredder he was.
Yes.
Yes, those
Yes.
guys were really, really, really like, wow,
Yeah.
virtuosos.
And you know who else is one who never shows it in his band until recently is Rivers Cuomo.
Really? I don't think I've seen him really kind of take control of that.
When I was in my hair band,
Yeah.
his bands were playing on the strip at the same time.
Really?
So he was one of those guys.
Yeah.
And I remember like these friends I knew when Weezer came out, they were just like, that's Rivers. Like they didn't even realize that he had gotten famous and that he'd cut his hair off. I mean, have you seen the picture of him he put out where he's like in the 80s and he's got like the Olin Mills photograph?
Yeah. I
He's
have
got the
seen
big hair. And
Yeah.
I mean, he was a full metal guy and that's why he's doing Van Weezer. He loves that stuff.
He's bringing it back.
And he's super talented.
Yeah. I have to know, what was your hair band's name?
The hair, you ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Rosie Coyote.
Rosie Coyote.
Yeah. We were named after a hot sauce.
That is perfect.
Our bass player was a designer, and
Yeah.
he did a logo for Rosie Coyote hot sauce, and
Yeah.
the company never came out with it. So we're like, that's a badass name.
Yeah. I like it. I actually think it's
Yeah.
kind of fun. Rosie Coyote.
I got really lucky
Yeah.
in one sense because that band got so close to the point of actually making it. Like
Right.
we had Bobby Dahl from Poison as our manager.
Really?
Our demo was produced by Butch Walker.
I know Butch Walker.
Yeah.
I've worked with him before.
Oh, that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
Butch is salt of the earth.
Yeah.
I knew him when he was in South Gang because Rosie Coyote and South Gang had the same manager, so we used to all party together all
That's
the time.
crazy.
So I mean, he's like a war buddy. You know?
Yeah,
I never see him. Every once in a while, I text him. I'm all, I like the Weezer album. He's like, thanks, dude. You know,
Thanks, dude. Yeah.
thanks, dude. But
totally.
but we got right up to that point, and then Nirvana hit. So I'm thinking now, I look back, I'm like, thank God.
Right.
Because I like this kind of music so much better. Not that the other stuff wasn't fun, but I would not want to have been like, hey, you're in X band. I'm not going to say any names. Like,
Yeah.
But you're in some band where you're like, yeah, I was in that band.
Yeah, totally. I was like you, that the
Yeah.
shift, I went the other way. And now, for nostalgic reasons, I go back and I listen to some of the hair bands, the metal bands. It's fun, but the 90s alternative is what stayed with me. And that was like,
Yeah.
and I do love, I really got into metal too. I was really into Metallica and Megadeth and Testament and Pantera and all those guys.
Thrash.
And thrash, yeah, metal thrash. You were the one actually, the show that I did here on Alice in Chains Dirt, I had just seen your TikTok where you were talking about how aspects of Facelift were like metal.
Oh, yeah.
Like metal and grunge. And I hadn't really looked at it that way. And
Yeah.
I 100% I talked about that on that episode because I was like, I hadn't really put it together, but given the time that it was coming out and grunge wasn't really well defined, there's so many riffs and stuff on that album that you go, that's metal.
They were metal. I mean,
Yeah.
and before they got signed, if you look at their early videos, they were like hair metal.
Yeah.
You know, they had that in their DNA, like they cut their teeth doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And then they progressed into other stuff, and Jerry figured all this stuff out and kind of invented it, really.
Yeah.
But the other thing about Jerry Cantrell is I did another video, I don't know if you saw that one, but he has this quality that's very Stevie Ray Vaughan blues, like on the Man in the Box solo.
Yes, he does.
And I played this solo in my car on the video and just said, everybody listen to this and just picture Stevie Ray Vaughan do it. And people were like,
Yeah.
I've never noticed that before. Like when he does that.
So
dong,
bluesy.
dang.
Totally.
He's covering all the bases. I mean, he's from Oklahoma, right? Like somewhere around there.
Is that where Jerry's from originally?
I think so.
That's my home state.
Yeah, so
I
there you
didn't
go.
even
Look
even
at that.
know
You
that.
guys are best
Holy
friends.
shit! I should be hanging out with Jerry Cantrell too.
I only know this stuff because he's a friend of a friend. So
Yeah.
I've met him like twice, I think. I played foosball with him once.
Oh,
So that's,
foosball with Cantrell.
yeah.
Did you let him win?
No, he won. He was very competitive. he didn't let me win. No, but he's a super cool guy.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
amazing guy. And just the talent that he was able to, I don't know if they did it on purpose. They were kids, so they
Yeah.
probably weren't thinking about it.
Right.
But if you analyze it from like a musicologist point of view,
Yeah.
it's like he was 1 foot in metal with the riffs. He had a bluesy aspect going on here, and then he went into space with the vocals, him and Lane, like
Yes.
things that no one had done before. Like
Totally.
we're going to do these
Harmonies.
harmonies that no one. We were like, what is that? And
Yeah.
it was kind of like Journey only evil.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I always say, I said on
Yeah.
my last show, I gave the wrong example because I realized after I said it, I was like, what I meant to say was like a minor key Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like these harmonies of these two vocalists together, but it's like,
He's doing like fourths and sixths, and
Totally.
you're like, what? And I don't even know how you would sing the harmony of like those like.
it's tough.
Yeah, so those guys were just on it, and
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Me too. But we're not here to talk about Alice in Chains. We're here to talk about Kicking
yeah.
Harold.
What else do you want to know?
Well, I want to
I got
know.
I got 30 years of stories. Man.
I know you do, and I guess before we get into if for those who are not familiar with your band,
Yes.
I would say the biggest breakout hit for you guys is probably the fact that Over Holland picked up the song Gasoline.
Yes.
So TLC TV show about cars picked up the song Gasoline. I am gasoline.
Exactly.
That's the song.
Yes.
And it played on there for 9 seasons. And so
Yes.
that makes that track really recognizable. So if you say Kicking Harold and then you show them that, they're like, right.
Yeah, we're the kind of band we're one step from recognition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you say,
yeah.
who, and they go, oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm so grateful to have that. You know?
Yeah. When did that happen? When did they pick it up?
It happened in 2002.
Great.
Right. And it actually kind of revived the band, you know,
Yeah.
because it was an accident.
Yeah.
We had a friend who was doing the show title, right? So his job, his company, Big Machine, was to do those animations at the beginning.
Right.
And our drummer gave him our CD just because we had just done it on our own for fun.
Sure.
And he tells a story. I don't know if this is true, but it's a great story. He said he was driving to Vegas trying to find a track for this thing, and listening to all these submissions and just a bunch of like burnt CDs and stuff. And he had the window open and the sunroof open, and he would listen and go, nope, and throw them out the top. Nope, nope, nope. And we were just like, what about the cars behind you? You know? So I don't know if that's true. Steve, you can tell me sometime if that's
It's
true.
a
or
great
not.
visual, though.
Yeah.
I hope it is
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So he landed on our album and he said, well, it's my buddy, so I'll check it out. And then he liked Gasoline.
yeah.
He put it into the intro as a temp track
Oh, okay.
just to build it.
Yeah.
And he showed it to the show, and they were like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then they aired it, but someone at the show forgot to give me the paperwork. So it aired without me signing anything. So I was all, aha,
That is unbelievable
I'm all-
that happened.
I want $10 million. No, but it was, so they were just so excited about it. It happened.
It
and
just
then-
they just air the show and they didn't even get it all squared away, and then
Yeah.
you're locked in now.
Yeah. And for the people that don't know, when you get a licensing gig, you sign a master contract for the recording and a sync license for the actual, like whoever owns the publishing.
Right.
And since I owned all of them, it was just me. But I was cool with them, and I actually got a better deal on the back end. So
That's great.
Like they did this thing where normally they would want to grab all the, like not all the publishing, but they would grab a big amount of the publishing, and they were trying to get put on as a songwriter, which is very common.
Yeah.
And I was like, no,
No.
I'm fine with the publishing. You're giving me an opportunity, but I never want to give somebody credit for writing something that they didn't write. you know?
Yeah, 100%.
So I got a better deal on it, and it was the best thing that ever happened. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like-
absolutely.
that song came out 20 years ago this year,
Wow.
and it still gets 50,000 streams a month.
That's incredible.
It's our biggest song by far.
By far, yeah.
And that's with no promotion, just like organic. People just like it. They heard it on the show, they download it, and they play it. And we play live. It's like a really fun
Yeah,
song.
people get excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't even imagine, because on the level of what a hit is, you know, in life,
yeah.
it is so low. It's like probably the lowest you can be because we weren't signed and it wasn't really on the radio.
Right.
But TV has a power that radio doesn't have sometimes.
Sure.
So it's just cool to have. I mean, if it wasn't for that, it would be like, you know, Who, you know, just like, I remember that album from the 90s because we have some fans from way back because we were on the radio back then. But Gasoline definitely like saved our bacon, you know.
That's the thing about temp songs. I in the movies and web series stuff that I worked on, you'd be editing something and the director or somebody would put in a temp song, and that's the danger because they would put in like a popular song for a scene or a montage, and everybody who's watching like falls in love with the temp song, and then you have the problem of we can't afford to get that. I can't get that song in there, and then you have to write something or have a composer come up with something that's like a rough equivalent, but it's never quite the same. So I love that they put it in there because it just fit. It just fit. They were like, this is the song.
Yeah. I mean, my theory is that Steve gave it to him like, here's an example, and they just ran with it.
They ran with
They
it.
didn't
yeah.
even realize it. Like, oh, where's, Jim should have done the paperwork.
Right.
I just had fun with it,
Yeah, and it's I've noticed, obviously if you listen to Kicking Harold's music, there are a lot of connections to cars and driving and speed and that kind of energy. Is that something that has always been a big part of your life? Just this kind of like, drifting, overhauling, like, yeah?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Really?
I mean, I do love cars.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like a go with the flow kind of guy.
Yeah.
So when Gasoline happened, which, by the way, it's the biggest car song ever that's not about cars.
Oh, do tell.
It's a song about burning bridges. I'm gasoline and matches. I turn everything to ashes. I'm burning, but I'm learning. Like, I fucked up.
Oh.
And the whole song is basically about, I had a group of friends that kind of just ghosted me, and I was so upset about it. I wrote about that situation, and just gasoline was a cool metaphor.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's my favorite car song. It's like, cool.
Cool. Well, see, I'm not a lyrics guy. I'm a music guy.
Yeah.
I made a TikTok about that, which is I can listen to a song for years and I rarely know what even the hell they're talking about. I do sometimes. Like, if you're listening to like a Leonard Cohen song, you're going to sit down and read the poetry and
like
be
you
like,
do.
yeah, you're going to be like, okay, what's this guy talking about? Like, I do. But there's a lot of things that I will listen to for years, even Pumpkin songs. And they'll be like, oh, I really love that one thing that he says there because it means this. And I'm like, is that what he says there? Because I hear the song, and so when I hear Gasoline, I'm like, it has that energy behind it. Of this, because I drive a Dodge Challenger, and that's the kind of song that I want to roll down my windows, and I just want to be like, It
works perfect for it. That's why it's so
does.
cool. And they only used the beginning, so they didn't really get into what the actual lyrics are. So, I mean, I like that, and I think that why that song resonated with people.
Yeah.
If you want to get like deep about things, is because I was really sincerely mad.
Yeah.
So that song came from a place of
should
anger.
be.
Well, I was upset and I was mad about the situation. And when you write something from that, pure point of view, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm gasoline. I'm history. I'm gone. Fuck off. Just, it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to present now to the audience the people who watch. Some just listen and they don't watch, but I am holding right here a collector's item. This right here is my Kicking Harold vinyl that has been signed by Tim himself right there. Look at this. You Rock. It's got a signature on it. And there's not a lot of these, right? There was only however many that you printed up?
100.
100. Yeah. Suck it, guys.
It was a Kickstarter I did. I had this. It was part of my like bucket list project during the pandemic. I said, I want to
be on vinyl.
I want to do vinyl. So I did a Kickstarter, and then I kind of did a focus group with all the hardcore fans, and they sent me in what songs they wanted. And then I sequenced it and printed them up. And when I was done, there was like 30 left. So when TikTok blew up, blew up.
Yeah.
Compared to you, Mr. 200,000 followers. Woo! I'm a little teeny cat.
You'll be there in no time.
I'm climbing up.
You'll be there in no time.
But so I made them and I had a few left over, and dude, the power of TikTok has been incredible.
It is.
Like,
it's remarkable.
Yeah, and I'll just talk. I mean, because I talk about music for fun, and then I talk about Kicking Harold because it's the name of the page.
Yeah.
And then I'll just mention, like, I have this. If you want it, go to the website. And this is like, boom, people go there and order. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. When I saw it, when I saw that video, I was like, I have to get this because I'm sure that most musicians, the idea of being on vinyl, I think that the consumer may not understand that's a process and only going to be supported if you've got a lot of like label support or money behind you. It's not easy to have your album put on vinyl because there's probably a loss ratio in terms of like them being printed up and however many sell.
100%.
Right? 100%.
Yeah, it's like, I think $3 or $4 grand for 100.
I mean, exactly.
And so you have to sell them for $30, or I mean, you can get deals, but
but still, so there's a lot of artists that people are like, why don't they have that on vinyl? And I'm like, well, because it's not easy to convince everybody involved that it's going to be worth the investment because only music nerds are buying records.
I don't know.
Although it's coming back,
it's really coming back, and it's coming back like with such a vengeance that what's happening now is all the manufacturers are backed up for like almost a year.
Really?
So if I wanted to print that right now, it would take me like 10, 12 months to get it done.
Do it.
Yeah, and then they're putting, like, now the major labels know, oh, there's money in this.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden these manufacturing companies will put, Adele to the front of the line.
Yeah.
Of course. Print up 1 million of those.
Of course.
And all of us little indie guys are like, whatever. I mean, I was telling my wife the other day, if I had the beans to do it, I would start a record plant.
Yeah, really?
Like who did that? I was just thinking about the other day. I can't think of the name.
Yeah.
Oh, from the White Stripes. Jack White.
Jack White. Jack White.
Jack White. Jack Black.
Jack.
That's one of those
White.
Jacks.
Yeah, one of them.
But he has his own record plant.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. And I've seen the videos of like somebody coming in there and pressing the record. It's so cool.
It's
and
really cool.
So cool. And a dream of mine. Maybe you'll be a part of it in some way. My dream is to open a record store called Waterproof Records that is a record store / brewery.
Oh my God.
And so the idea being you could go in, hang out, have drinks, have a beer, and then there's a whole different section where you could go listen to records. And I like the idea of like there being almost like used library where you could just go in, plop down on a turntable, hang out with your friends and these little booths or something and jam out, listen to records, and then drink your beers or whatever. And like that's like a dream of mine to do that, whether it's LA or wherever it would survive. But
it would be great. It's totally
wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, it's just you can have a DJ in there. And,
Totally. You have nights where there's live performance and you have like you come by. And I think it would be cool too if at Waterproof Records you never knew when somebody was going to perform. So it was like people just show up and they're like, maybe Tom Morello's rolling through tonight.
Oh my God,
I don't
can you
know.
imagine? I love Tom Morello.
I do too. He was the guy who really changed my life on TikTok. So
I got so excited today.
Yeah.
I thought I had a scoop because I was listening to 95.5 as I was cruising around LA, and this Rage song came on.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
I never heard it, and I was like, oh my God, it's new Rage. I was like, fucking A. And I was getting ready to do my TikTok. I heard the new Rage, and then I figured out what song it was, and it was on one of their albums. It was just a total deep track.
You just hadn't heard it before.
Oh, I had heard it, but I didn't recognize it. I was like, damn it.
I love it. I thought you were going to tell the story of just yesterday or the day before, there was some radio station where a bunch of the staff got fired and somebody put on Killing in the Name of on repeat and locked the door.
Oh, I did hear about that.
And so it played like over and over again in rebellion.
That's like a college radio station thing.
Totally.
Dude,
like,
I'm going to do this.
I can just see like the broom handle through the door and they're like, you better turn that racket off right now.
I don't know why they don't do an album. I wish they would do an album.
Oh, so
I mean, because they're obviously talking because they're touring.
Yeah.
So there's some disconnect there. Like maybe they just don't want to mess with their legacy, or I don't know. But I'm ready for it. I think, and there's not enough bands from that era left.
I would love it.
We need music from that time.
Yeah, we do. And I feel like as we're witnessing, the music of the '90s is having a resurgence, and there's a lot of teenagers and young people that like they love that sound, and bands that are coming out now that I'm like, wow, this sounds like it comes from the '90s. Has that sound. And even your newest album, you have great modern songwriting, but it still harkens back to that tone. You have that. You're a great tone. You're like a tone lord.
Thank you so much.
You have good guitar tone. Like all the albums I was listening to, it's like killer riffs, very riff driven band. If you want to check out Kicking Harold, you'll notice right away. You'll be like, this has got riffs for days.
I'm all about the riffs.
Yeah.
I've gravitated towards riffs my whole life.
Yeah.
Just like if a band has riffs and hooks.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of like screamy, like any band that has the word core after it, metalcore. If it's core,
I listen to all of it, but I hear
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like,
of course,
I can appreciate it. I'm like, okay, I feel the energy. I love you, but I need a little melody in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So even bands like Metallica or even Slayer had melody.
Yeah, yeah.
It was all very just it was.
They were very
hooks.
melodious. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I have a funny story about this. Actually, I was playing it in the house. I was playing the record.
Oh, fun.
And it was just playing in my living room. And my youngest son, his name is Elliot. And we were listening to Evil Rock and Roll. And when you say, hell yeah, he thought you were saying Elliot.
Elliot, that's fun.
He came out and he goes, is he saying my name? And I go, no, he's saying hell yeah.
I'll do a version for him.
Yeah, do a version. I was like, well, I know. He was like, well, I'm going to make it. I'm going to believe that he's saying Elliot. And I was like, you rock on with yourself. But you just released a new album just this year.
Did. Yeah.
Darker Angels, right?
Yep.
And cool cover. It's got this kind of angelic horns. What's the story behind that image?
It's a found image. I mean,
Okay.
I found a photographer that had that image, and I'm the graphic artist, so
You do it all.
Wear
all the hats.
I wear lots of hats.
You do wear lots.
I like
of hats.
hats.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to find something that had to do with because when you do an album, which you probably know, you'll get to the point where you start listening to all of them and you'll see like a theme going through them.
Sure.
It's like the old saying of when Kurt Cobain heard Nevermind all the way through, and he said, "I say gun a lot." And then think what happened.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's
true.
like
It's
weird,
true.
right? So like
It's
subliminally.
subconscious. Yeah.
So I didn't really realize that I was working through a lot of themes of anxiety and addiction and alcoholism and other people in my life that I had to distance myself from.
Yeah.
So the darker angels are basically like, that's addiction and all those different things. So when I was flipping through images and trying to find one, I saw that image.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, that's her. That's the darker angel.
That's
Because
the
I like
darker
that title. So
Yeah, because I like the idea of a darker angel, this evil, but yet, this alluring, drawing you in, but
it's like your dark, it's like the
Yeah.
old mermaids that would sink the sailors.
Yeah.
the
sirens.
Yeah.
100%. So you said you obviously have stories for days. So, I mean, we could probably have like a 3-hour podcast talking about like Kicking Harold in terms of being on the road, bands that you came across with in your time playing live music in the studio. Do you have any kind of standout, like really great memories of, the band is up and running, it's the 90s and you're running along with some of these other people that we really love?
I do. I have a good story.
I want to hear it.
I think that'll be up to you.
It'll be up to the audience. I'll love it.
Well, back in that time period, when you're on a label, what'll happen is you'll start getting played in a bunch of markets on different radio stations.
Yeah.
And then part of the payback to that radio station is you'll go there and you'll do a show for free.
Yeah.
So that's why you'll see like a radio show with like the Acoustic Christmas.
Sure.
Like the bands don't get paid for that. It's like they're like it's like a thank you to the radio station.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's not it's not payola, but it's like, if you spin our song, we'll let the band play for free. That kind of thing. It's like there's all that kind of stuff. So
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, everyone skirts the law.
Totally. right.
But we were playing a show in Phoenix, and it was all the bands that were on the station at the time we were on with our song "Kill You," which was
which a
it's
hit
on there. Yeah, it was a genuine like B level
Yeah.
across the country, and we played a big, they're called sheds, like an outdoor arena, know. And we played our set. There's a whole bunch of bands, but like we played our set, and then a bunch of bands were playing. And we were the first band that kind of got the people on the top to start moshing because we had a couple heavier riffs. For alternative, we still had like more than most people.
Yeah.
And then the night went on, and then a couple bands later, Deftones came out.
Wow.
And they were on their first tour too. Our albums came out exactly the same time. So like when we would go to the record store during the day, like when you show up in a city, to digress, when you show up in a city, you would pull into town, get your hotel. In the morning, you get up and do the morning show at the radio station.
Right.
Go to the Blockbuster Music.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Play a show, sign CDs, and then do a show at night. So you basically were doing like 3 shows a day.
Yeah.
Like one for the radio, one for...
Yeah.
And so we would get to these places, and it'd be like, coming next week, Deftones, or their poster with with the syringe on the
Yeah. Adrenaline, right?
Yeah. I think that was the first
Adrenaline.
one.
Yeah. It is.
So they were just a new band in a van, just like us, just out there trying to make it happen. And the Deftones got up on stage, and I hadn't really heard them that much. I heard their album. I'm like, these guys are cool, like different.
Yeah.
For the time, even for the time, we're like, ooh, this is moody and dark.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's like Jack Black is moody and dark. And they got on stage, and then the singer, after playing a few songs, he just very quietly, he was like, all you people up there, you don't need to be up there. You can come down here.
Really?
And like a switch went off, and this arena of like 10,000 people, the people poured over the top, came over the top of the soundboard, ripped off the soundboard, came down, came up on stage, pulled all the equipment off the stage, went up and pulled down the speakers.
Oh my God.
And the concert was over. Typo Negative didn't even get to play.
Oh my God.
And I think the legend is that Peter Steele punched the guy from Deftones in the face.
Chino. So Peter Steele punched.
I don't know if that's true. That's a legend.
What town was this?
Phoenix, Arizona. And we were in our dressing room. We had just played because it's Phoenix. We're from Tucson. All our friends had come up.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "There's a riot." We're like, "What do you mean there's a riot?"
Oh my God.
And so we're like, "What the fuck?" And our tour manager was like an army guy. He's like, "Get in the van.
Get in the van. We got to get out of here."
And he had a little thing. He would listen to the police calls, like a scanner. And we were listening, and it said, the mob is going down, Thunderbird Lane. Yeah, they turned left on whatever, and they were like, they had like drums in their arms and speakers.
That is crazy.
It was a full-on riot. I'm sure we had nothing to do with it because we were just like this baby band, and we just went on. But I can't even imagine the fallout from that afterwards from everybody.
Yeah.
So that was an experience. That's my story for you.
Deftones.
Thank you so much.
That is a great story. I just did my reaction to Deftones TikTok. That was literally the one I did this week. Was I did my own summer shove it. And did you see it yet? Did you happen to see the video yet?
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, so I've been wanting to do that one forever, which is
I did see it.
it's where I'm breathing fire out of my nose.
I did.
So
I love those videos, by the way.
Thank you.
That's how I discovered your page. One of those came across, and I'm like, this guy's fucking awesome. Follow.
Thank you. I found you before I get to my Deftones story. I found you because this guy was fighting me in my comments. And in order to win the argument, he tagged me in yours.
Yes.
And I went over and it was about Radiohead. And this guy, this fucking dick, whoever you are, he's like 10 years older than me, and he was like just goading me. And he kept saying, I was talking about Radiohead and how they went to another planet. Like all their music, like during the 90s and the early 90s was just rock and alternative.
Yes.
And then they just like left Earth and they became this ethereal, like otherworldly alien band. And that was my point. And he was saying like, you're wrong, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. Earth, you're talking out your ass. You're a pretentious piece of shit. He's saying all this stuff to me. And he tags me in a video of yours talking about Radiohead.
Yeah.
And he goes, see? And I was like, I watched your video and I go, he's saying exactly what I am saying. And so I started bickering with this dude on your page. And I was like, oh, this guy seems really nice and I like his stuff. I like went through and I started watching. I was like, oh, he's awesome and he knows all of his stuff. And I was like, I know this name, Kicking Harold. And so I wrote you. And I was like, dude, I'm arguing on your page with this dipshit.
I remember that.
And
That was great.
I really like your stuff. I want to explain myself. And then we became friends.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. So I wanted to make this Deftones video. And my own summer shove it was the first one that I heard. I remember 97, I was watching Headbangers Ball. I actually don't remember ever hearing anything off Adrenaline because I think it was small. And I was growing up in Oklahoma, so the only thing I'm going to see is if it gets MTV play or if it makes it to some radio station where I'm at. So I saw the video, and it's the sharks. That's that video. He's standing on cages, and there's sharks in the ocean. For 6 months now, I've been like, how do I recreate me standing on shark cages for the Deftones video? And then I just gave up, and I was like, I'm just going to communicate the emotion that I felt when he screams. That's the best I could do.
It's killer.
I was like dragons.
Are those the kind of videos that blew you up? Was that when you started doing the back and forth, like talking to yourself and your friend, like, check this out, dude?
And I wasn't
That's brilliant.
Well, thank you. That's this back to our first part of the conversation was when I started making TikToks, I was just clowning around like I usually do. And my wife even told me, she said I was publishing some old Vines. And Vines, back in the day of Vines. And
My MySpace page.
Yeah, right. My MySpace, my Facebook, my Vines. She was saying, she goes, there's this huge difference in your behavior on the Vines as to now, because she goes, there's this desperation in your Vines, like, notice me, see me. Because like I talked to you about, like I wanted it. I was, please, I want to be a famous entertainer. And so when I got TikTok, I think I started out kind of goofing around doing that kind of stuff. And then when I made the video thing, there was no intention behind it of like, this is going to be a thing. The first thing I did was Nirvana, and it was just literally came from like, this is how I remember it. It just came from that sincere place, and that it blew up. And then I was like, let's just have fun with this format.
And you keep doing it.
Yeah, I just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, but
it's incredible. I mean, if there's a musician out there right now, if anyone is a musician, get on TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of resistance. Everyone's like, it's a dance app, it's kids. Like, it is the only place to be right now. And
it really
it's the only place that has free reign to get to people without paying.
It is. It is a remarkable
which I
thing.
hope doesn't change.
Yeah, I hope not either. And it is one of those things that I was very resistant. Were you resistant when to make one at first? I was.
I wasn't resistant. My wife got me into it.
Okay.
She found it during the pandemic. She's like, have you seen this app? I can't stop watching these videos. They're so funny. So we joined and then started watching them just like a fan.
Yeah, just kind of checking stuff out.
And then I said, okay, I'm technically in the music business, even though is
You
there a business?
You are in the music business.
So I should register my name. So I had my own page under my name that I never put anything on.
Yeah.
I just watched.
But now everybody knows, so they can go check out his private account. No, I'm just kidding.
It says "See Kicking Herald." I mean, that's all it says.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, it was the one I started to watch, and then I made the Kicking Herald one, and I spent I've only been on there a year, so I probably spent 6 months just doing the normal thing of, here's my thing, here's my album, here's maybe a stupid funny thing, and then one day this kid, have you seen the account of the kid who's like, he's got to be 18, he's got blonde spiky hair, and he's got like a really colorful background, then he always talks about metal and punk, and he always blows up. He's huge.
I think I've seen his stuff, but I don't know if I follow him.
And he did a video, and all he said was, "What do you consider classic rock?"
Yeah.
And he was wearing a Guns N' Roses shirt.
Yeah.
And I just went on there and said, "Oh, I know about this." And so I stitched him. It was my very first stitch. And I said, I think it's, technically it's just a slang term for 70s rock with a little bit of late 60s, a little bit of early 80s. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, I said, and by the way, your shirt, Guns N' Roses, they were, technically a glam metal band from the 80s.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, glam? They're glam. And then once I started happening, and I started like I was like, yeah, they're fucking glam. And I started arguing with people. I'm all look at this picture, because they were.
Oh, totally.
But people will not allow them to be that. Like they were rock. They were never glam. It's like, no, they were, and then they evolved. Like
they evolved.
Yeah.
They evolved. The early pictures. Go look at Axl Rose's hair in the Welcome to the Jungle video. It's bouffant, big,
huge. Totally
hair,
and I think it's fine. They were the best glam band.
Totally,
if you want to talk about it.
They just had chops. They were just really good musicians.
And Slash tried out for Poison.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could have been in Poison.
Totally.
So everyone was just interchangeable back then. No one cared. It's like that was just the fashion.
Yeah, it's the Sunset Strip music scene, right?
Yeah, but to my point about the TikTok, I did this one, and then I started arguing, and I got more response than I've ever had on anything.
Yeah.
And it just clicked. I said, "Oh, they want to talk about music. I know all about music."
Yeah, you do.
So then that's like it's a humble brag. I don't really, but
you know a lot. Like you know more than I do in a lot of ways. Like I
think the same thing when I listen to your videos. I'm like, he knows everything about alternative. I don't know about alternative.
No, man. Here's the thing. And Josh, my wonderful producer, we talk we all the time talk about. There's this enormous amount of pressure on TikTok once you become a guy on a subject. Is that people are constantly throwing bands and musicians at me, and they're like, "You've never heard of it?" And I'm literally I literally, somebody said to me just recently, I did this video, and they said, or like Dispatch with the song "The General," and I was like, I don't know what that is. And I looked it up, and there were 65 million listens on Spotify, and it was this huge Boston band, and I was like, I've literally never heard this song.
I never heard it.
Band name ever in my life. And yet when you put yourself out there as that person, people just expect, they're like, well, what do you think of this album? What do you think of this band? And you're like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with all of them.
I look at it as a fun thing because then it gives you things to explore.
It does.
All you have to do is say, look, I talk about what I like and what I know.
Totally.
I don't talk about everything. I'm not, Kurt Loder or
Eddie
Trunk. I've met Eddie. It's like you don't want to get in a battle of music knowledge with him.
Yeah.
He's like the master.
Oh, the master. Absolute master.
But so I just figured that out, and then once I started doing let's talk about the bands, and little and I figured out that people love the questions.
Yeah.
Love to be engaged. And I don't just ask them and run away. Like I ask them and then I talk to them and they make me laugh. And it's a really fun thing. I mean, it's the most fun I've had in a long time with something.
It is really fun. You do a very bold series, I must say. And I'm going to say it's called The Worst Song on the Album or whatever.
Worst Song, Best Album.
Worst Song, Best Album, which is the idea is you're not saying that the song, and this is like what's so funny about the TikTok audience, it's like some things just don't get into their heads. You keep saying, I'm not saying it's a bad song.
Yes,
I do a disclaimer.
My disclaimer.
You have to say it every time because nobody gets it, which is you say, I'm not saying it's the best, though a bad song. It could be a great song, but but what I'm saying is it's the worst song on the best album. Like, what is the lowest ranked song on this awesome kick-ass legendary record?
What song do you like the least?
Yes.
Or what would you get rid of? That's all it is. And it's like you pissed on somebody's fucking head.
Totally. Every time I see them, I go, people must be losing their minds because you're talking about Metallica, you're talking about these bands, and you're saying the song, and they're going, that's a great song. And you're like,
Oh, I know. I named my child after that song. That's the one I get. Like, oh my God.
And you're like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that if you were to rank 1 out of 10, what's the lowest ranking one? What's 10?
And it's super fun conversation.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I take it seriously. I did one today for Purple.
Did you?
Yeah. And
I haven't seen that one yet.
I picked Pretty Penny.
There you go.
Because it's the oddball, not because it's not the best song, because all the rest of them are produced and they flow, and then that one's just like a little acoustic number like Paul McCartney did it. And I'm like, it doesn't fit. Like, it should be on another album.
And I'm sure people were like, Pretty Penny is the best fucking...
Dude, Pretty Penny would have been perfect for Tiny Music.
Yes. Oh,
Right?
100%.
Perfect.
100%.
But I don't know if you know this, but when I did the Metallica one, I'm a huge fan of Metallica.
Me too.
Master of Puppets is my favorite album.
My favorite album as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we're on the same page. But I did not know that Orion is considered like the homage to Cliff. I didn't know that.
I don't think I knew that, but now that you say it, I'm like, okay, I feel like that's been said before.
So
in passing.
when I did the video, that's what I picked as
You chose
because
Orion.
it was the instrumental. And to me, I always skipped it.
Yeah.
Like, I like it, but after about a minute, I'm like, it's the same thing over and over again. And then it's got the middle breakdown, and that's where he plays the bass by himself.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean,
and people were like, how dare you?
Yeah, how dare you? Not only that, Metallica commented.
They did not.
Yeah, with an angry emoji. Metallica's account, and everyone's like, it's Lars. He hates you now. And then all of a sudden, all the Lars hate comes in. You know?
Oh God.
And I have nothing but love for all of them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, can you imagine being in their shoes?
Oh,
And
yeah.
even Lars, I think he's a total awesome character, and just like, I mean, him and Hetfield basically built that band. I mean, they
from the ground up.
arranged all the songs, wrote
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't write everything, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a Metallica without him.
Without those guys.
Without the Meta Militia tape.
Yeah.
Like, he did that for them.
Yeah.
But they just I milked that emoji thing for so long. I'm like, oh, Lars is mad at me. Look at this. And everyone's like, oh my God. And then everyone's like, it's an
love
intern. I'm like, I know it's an intern, but I like to think of Lars going there, oh, fuck you, Orion. Fuck you. And then about a week or so later, an article came across my feed on Google. Lars Ulrich talks about the merits of Orion in this magazine. I'm like, I told my wife, he's doing that because of me.
He is. He is.
He did that. He did that article. I upset him.
I'm going to tell you can tell your wife that you're not even joking around, because here's what I know as a fact.
I was joking, and I don't want to get in a pissing match with one of my heroes, but it's
Lars,
fucking funny.
Lars, we're throwing down the glove. You come on the Waterproof Records and you have it out with Tim right now. No, I'm going to tell you that when people comment on mine and they have the blue checks, and I say, I'm so excited, and I get the people that I say, I can't believe this band, and they go, it's an intern, settle down. Right. Sure.
Maybe.
But guess what I've learned along the way? The intern usually has conversations with the artist, and that artist usually has some say or input into this. And that's how I got connected with the Smashing Pumpkins. That's how I met them, because I got a comment from an account, and it very well might have been a member of the band. And that's the thing, is that people are all so quick to discount it. And you go, you do understand that these people work in tandem with the artist and usually have conversations
and
with
it's
them.
their account.
Yeah.
Like,
it's their
think
account.
they don't have access to it?
You think that they don't worry a little bit about, like, what is this person saying that I'm saying, right?
Yes.
They do worry about that kind of stuff.
And I have no illusions that he has any idea who I am or who Kicking Harold is.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask him, if I ever could, Lars,
if you're listening,
if I could ask him, okay, fine, Orion is not the worst song on the best album.
Yeah.
If you put that in there, what's the other one you're going to take off?
Right.
Like, show me a worse song.
And that's the point of the
You know what I mean?
exercise.
And then everyone's like, oh, well, it's this one. And then like, no, that's the best one. There's no answer. That's why I like doing the videos, because it's a never ending loop of, I like that better. I can't.
Exactly.
And people are like,
because music is subjective. And I've said this on everything, which is I'll make a video about something and they'll go, da-da-da is better. And I was like, to you.
I know. I
To you.
use better all the time too.
Yeah,
It's a total trigger.
Yeah,
but
and you
it's fun.
You enjoy it. I don't like. I'm too sensitive.
Well, I want, because my goal on this page, which is a very humble little page, is to just get people engaged and talk about stuff. Because like I say, I'm Tim from Kicking Herald. Let's talk about rock, metal, and grunge.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I picked rock, metal, and grunge is because Kicking Herald has elements of all three of those things. Because I was a rock kid in the 70s, and then I was a metal kid in the 80s, and then I became a grunge guy. Yeah. So I'm not like one of those people that cut it off and said, fuck Kurt Cobain, it killed my music. I'm like, no, this is just as good, but it doesn't mean I still don't love, Rat.
Right.
Like I'll fucking put on Wanted Man. I'll put on Wanted Man and just be like, and love it just as much as Nevermind.
It all has a place. It all has a place. There's always a time for these different styles of music. But you're braver than I am, because I am definitely one of these people that when people start coming and really getting after me on something, I'm like, I shouldn't have made this video, because it makes me feel so uneasy. I'm just I'm such a
it's a little weird.
I'm a good times guy, and so that's always been me. I'm like let's just all get along. Like I really struggle with anything that's controversial.
I do too, but when you're talking about stuff like that, it's just funny. And I always tell them like, this is why, we're just having fun here. And and this platform is lovely because it's like, if someone's a dick, you just block them.
Yeah, I know.
You never argue with them. Like you can tell the difference between someone who's a true fan that just is upset and they want to talk about it, or someone who's just a troll.
That's true.
Trolls are just assholes. And sometimes it's bots. And you don't know
it's bots and you don't know it. And I've learned that as I've gone on, which is I used to take too many of them to heart, and then I realized it was like, I can just block or delete anything that is like really shitty. I'm like, this is my page. I get to do what I want here. Yeah. So fuck off.
And you can even do it with accounts you just stumble on. Like if someone's on there and it comes into your feed and you're like, I hate this person, or I hate this like vibe.
Yeah.
Block it.
Block it. Yeah.
It's not like you're mad at them.
Yeah.
Just,
but it's like I don't need it. I don't need it in my life.
Yeah.
Well, I've kept you here already for a good amount of time, but I wanted to know, is there anything else? Are there any opportunities that we're going to get to see you like play some of your music live? Do you think you'll have that come up soon?
Yeah, that's been my next goal.
Okay, I want to come see you play, man.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I'd love that. I'd love that. That'd be an honor.
Yeah, so the band's been kind of in mothballs, which has been the history of Kicking Herald. I've gone up and down. Like it'll be a cycle of an album, and then I'll go off and produce stuff or work on side projects. But now it's been my main focus for a while, and because the pandemic's over, because of you, I found a rehearsal studio I'm going to start jamming at.
Yes.
I went there, and they knew about your band.
Yeah.
Temple of the Dads.
We befriended them there, and now they're big fans.
So my process is I go when I want to rehearse. Yeah. So I'm not one of these musicians that wants to play, if that makes sense. Like there's guys that want to jam. Like I want to be like prepared. I'm like, I gotta know everything. I gotta have all my parts down.
Sure.
So I'll go in with just me and my guitar and my stand of my lyrics and try to remember everything. Yeah. And try to remember the bridges because they go first.
Totally.
And I'll work all the songs back up, and then when I'm ready, I'll get a drummer and a bass player, and we'll get going.
I got to come see you, so you got to keep me in the loop about that.
Of
but
course.
now we're buddies.
Best friends.
And I want to come over. Like I'd love to come over and like I don't know, play guitar with you sometime. I'd like to like jam with you, or lay down. Like I want to hear a riff that I write with the tone that you have.
I
want to do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I want to do that. Like I just want to hear it. You don't have to do anything other than I listen to your riffs on the albums, and I'm like, I want to hear what it sounds like for my guitar to sound like that. Yeah. So someday.
Well, you know what they say, like it's all in the fingers. It's like it's not the amps.
Yeah, it's true.
Because the old story is, I think Van Halen was opening for Ted Nugent.
Uh-huh.
Do you know this one?
No, I don't know the story.
He was opening for Ted Nugent, and Ted was watching this going, holy hell.
Yeah, I bet.
And then Ted was like, can I play it through your rig? And Eddie was like, yeah, of course, you're Ted Nugent. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And he gave Ted his guitar. So picture Ted Nugent with his guitar on, which is just weird.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said Ted got up there and played an A chord, and it just sounded like Ted. Nothing like Eddie.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the tone, there's little variations, but like it's how you hit it, it's how you mute it, it's how you play your riffs.
It's your style.
Yeah, and there's only, like a Marshall's got like 3 knobs.
Yeah.
It's a little brighter, a little darker. And basically all you do is just crank it all the way up and hope you have a good head that sounds good.
Yeah.
If not, you buy another one.
Well, in listening to your music, there's the Tim David Kelly sound.
Hey.
There is.
Thanks, man.
There is.
Thank you.
I can hear it, and I'm like, those riffs, that tone, you've got your own tone. You got your own tone.
I got a tone.
You got a tone, baby.
I got a tone.
And then, I guess they can check you out. Just check out Kicking Herald.
KickingHerald.com is the hub for everything.
And you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on all those platforms.
Yeah, I'm on all the platforms. I really
TikTok
only post on TikTok.
TikTok is where it's at.
All the other ones have become just kind of like not dead platforms to me,
Sure.
but it's just like that's where I post if something's going on, like if an album's coming out or if there's a gig, or I'll put it on everything.
Awesome.
And there's a lot of gurus that say you should transplant from there to everywhere, but I'm just having fun there. I just want to do that. And I actually put in my header on all of them, I'm on, if you need me, I'm on TikTok. Head over there.
Yeah.
And everybody knows now. So it's like, it's not like a year ago, it was like, what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, now they're like, oh shit, I got to get going. And you'll see new people all the time coming on there. Trying to build their audience.
I know. I'm glad we got in a little earlier. You know what I mean? Because like once Saturday Night Live started making sketches revolved around TikToks, I was like, I'm glad I got in before this, because now it's like everybody. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like now it's become everybody's getting a TikTok, everybody's making one, and they're all hoping to blow up and go viral. And it's like, it's still possible, and that's what's great. Anybody could go viral on it, but it's kind of. I'm glad we got in when we did.
Yeah, me too. And I like that I still see it's steady growth. Like if you're doing what you do and people connect, it's like it just kind of goes up. And I don't know if the days of I had one video and you have 500,000 people are gone or not.
Yeah.
I mean, that was happening early on where it's just like someone would just boom, have 1 million people watching.
It's less for me too. Like it seems much more gradual, because I feel like the people who found me were the people that were going to find me. You know what I mean? Like that's what it feels like. And if I'm spreading past that, it's because I touch on something that's maybe a little bit outside of what I do, and that's where I'm getting new. But I don't see the same level of like, oh, this thing just went bananas. But I'm okay with that. I'm just having fun making stuff like
it's just a good platform. It's like we have our own TV shows.
Yeah. And I always wanted one.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Yeah, I got it. We got it. Well, I'm so glad. Thank you for coming
Thank you for having me.
To Believe Limited on Waterproof Records. And I'm just so glad to be friends with you, besties now. And thank you guys for joining us for yet another episode of Waterproof Records with Jacob Gibbons. I've been joined by Tim David Kelly, Kicking Herald. So go check out his music. It's really great stuff. And we're just happy that you joined us. And make sure you tell your friends about this podcast. I can't do this without you guys. So spread the word. Say, if you've ever wanted to hear the greatest music podcast of all time, you need to check out this one. So
we're going to do a TikTok after this is done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. See you next time.
Things are gonna change. I can feel it. If this gonna be that kind of party, I'm gonna.
Waterproof Records.